We have some developments with the Epstein files. Jamie Raskin continues his relentless pursuit for justice for the victims. Virginia Giuffre's memoir, Nobody's Girl, is published. And is Speaker Johnson's game plan regarding the shutdown and stopping the release of Epstein files revealed? My name is Dina Doll. This is the MeidasTouch Network. Let's get into it. Now, first of all, is Speaker Johnson's plan to keep the government shut down until December 5th? Well, it turns out there is a special election for a congressional seat in Tennessee. Normally that seat is held by a Republican, and there is in fact a Republican as well as a progressive Democrat running for that seat. Well, they decided in Tennessee to speed up the certification of that election. That election being held on December 2nd was going to be certified December 12th, and they passed a resolution instead saying that the election had to be certified by December 5th. Now, people there in Tennessee are saying that that is because Mike Johnson needs that Republican vote to counter the Democratic Congresswoman in Arizona who plans on signing the discharge petition. So, for those of us who were really wondering, what was Mike Johnson's game plan? Was he planning on keeping the government shut down forever? As we know, he hasn't sworn in the Congresswoman from Arizona, despite the fact that he should, not only because those constituents deserve representation, but because there's absolutely no precedent for not signing her in. Therefore, it is very obvious it is because he does not want that discharge petition signed. He is protecting Trump and others from having the Epstein files released. Well, as it turns out, another way to stop getting that discharge petition signed and forcing the vote on that, he is waiting, it appears, until there is a counter vote to that discharge petition. If he waits to swear in the Arizona Congresswoman until the time that there is that Republican sworn in, then her vote will no longer be the final vote to force that discharge petition, because right now that seat is empty. And so you change the numbers, you change the dynamic, you make it so that discharge petition isn't forced with the Congresswoman being sworn in and being signed. Now, the progressive Democrat who's running, Afton Bain, recently spoke to this issue. Take a listen to what she had to say.
And you have said that you will be a vote to release the Epstein files. It seems pretty clear at this point that, Rep Grijalva is being kept out of Congress because of the Epstein files. Do you think if you win, Speaker Johnson will even seat you?
So I was in DC 2 weeks ago and actually met her and walked up to her and said, did you know there's a special election in Tennessee? And she said, yes. And I said, well, did you know that there's some nefarious shenanigans happening? And she's like, no. And I said, well, our state election commission, there's an article from the National Banner intimating that our state election commission is expediting the election results, which is kind of an anomaly. And because they think Van Epps will win, and therefore his vote will cancel out her vote to release the Epstein files. So we are
are they waiting for him, basically?
That is what the National Banner reported. So
hold on. Let me just be clear about that.
Yeah.
So you're saying that it's possible that Speaker Johnson's plan right now is to stall her until Van Epps gets there?
Yes.
Oh my God. I had not heard that, which makes all the sense in the world.
Yeah. And you're like, am I wearing a tinfoil hat? No. So the National Banner reported this. And it's just they're trying to move up the election certification results. And there's really only one reason for that.
Jamie Raskin has sent a letter to Pam Bondi asking, why is Trump and the DOJ and the FBI killing an active investigation into a years-long sex trafficking pedophilia ring against young children and women? Why would they be willing to do that? Who are they trying to protect? This is what Raskin says in his letter. And he lays out how we are dealing with 1,000 victims and $1.5 billion of suspicious transaction, this vast criminal enterprise, and how the Southern District of New York had an active investigation into this criminal enterprise. They were in the middle of the investigation, continuing to pursue the investigation, even after Epstein's death, even after Maxwell's conviction. They were continuing to pursue it against the co-conspirators. And they handed over all of their information to Trump's DOJ, who said they were taking over the investigation. And then, of course, as we know, the DOJ and the FBI promptly closed it. And Raskin is saying, we, as this oversight committee, need all of the information that you were handed over to, all the summaries, all the documents, all the files. We need it not only because we need to see why this investigation was killed, but because as a legislative body, they plan on revising the laws for sex victims in order to protect them from what happened with Epstein, because these victims were asked to come forward and tell their stories. With the first Epstein deal, of course, as we know, they gave him this sweetheart deal without talking to the victims. They were basically using the victim's testimony, which is very difficult for a victim to give, and then didn't even bother to include them in any sort of negotiations or notify them that their testimony wasn't going to actually be used toward pursuing an indictment. And so Raskin is saying we also as a legislative body need to know what is happening so we can craft our legislation. So Raskin keeping the fire, keeping this in the news, keeping the American people informed with his letters. As we know, he also sent a letter to the banks asking them to voluntarily hand over the information about the $1.5 billion of suspicious activity to 1,000 women and children. Vast, vast criminal enterprise. Jim Raskin really keeping us all informed, really keeping the news centered on what is happening with Epstein. Now, as we know, Trump said that this was all a hoax, and, Kash Patel, that this is incredible. Take a listen to when he was asked by Representative Jay Paul whether or not he found the victims to be credible.
Of the Jeffrey Epstein horrific trafficking ring, are they credible?
Any person with information about ongoing sexual trafficking.
I'm asking you if they're credible.
Ma'am, I'm commenting on the evidence we have. And we have routinely asked for people to come forward with more evidence, and we will look at it. And the evidence that we have was the same evidence that the Biden and Obama Justice Departments had. And they determined, not me, they determined that information was not credible.
Chairman, he's not letting me even ask my questions.
My favorite thing about the holidays is the cooking. My least favorite is the cleaning up, which is why I reach for my hex-clad pans over and over beyond any other pan in my kitchen. I mean, for one, they make me look like a great cook because of their laser patented technology. They sear it beautifully. There's a reason why they are Gordon Ramsay approved. And then they are also super durable. I mean, there's always somebody in the family that uses a fork on the nonstick pan, right? Well, here it will not scratch it. They are metal safe, utensil safe. They are dishwasher safe, toxin free. They can be in the oven up to 500 degrees. They are a great gift. You can give a 6-piece set, which would be perfect for anyone who wants the essentials covered, while a 12-piece set unlocks the endless holiday meals and beyond. These pans look gorgeous on your stovetop, perform flawlessly, and come with a lifetime warranty, which means they would be the gift that keep on giving. I wish I had just bought a set instead of buying a pan after pan because I like them so much. So whether you're hosting the big feast, surprising someone with the ultimate gift, or finally treating yourself. Hexclad has you covered this holiday season. For a limited time, our listeners get 10% off at hexclad.com/mistrial. Just head to hexclad.com/mistrial. Save and let them know we sent you. Make this the season of stress-free, joy-filled cooking with Hexclad. Beyond even the very legal consequences of Kash Patel, Pam Bondi, and Trump trying to pretend that the survivors are a hoax, there's also a very human element to it. I mean, Trump just this week expressed sympathy for Andrew, formerly Prince Andrew, because he was stripped of all of his royal titles because the royal family believed that he raped Virginia Giuffre, as she said. Trump can't even give a piece of that same sympathy to the victims. But Raskin and his letter talking about the fact that these victims, their testimony was then just quashed. And Virginia Giuffre in her book talks about the cost, the toll that giving that testimony was for her and for other victims. They showed up again and again. And she says it was like she was reliving the trauma each time she did it. That is what is being disparaged by Trump and the others. Virginia Giuffre says the whole reason why she even started talking and cooperating was when she had her daughter. She didn't really want to go up against the Epstein, Maxwell, and powerful co-conspirators, but she didn't want her daughter to live in the world. And she says in her book about how difficult and painful and emotional it was for her and others to give that kind of testimony. She says, after the public hearing ended, the prosecutors invited all Epstein's victims to meet with them in a private room. It was an emotional session. Jeffrey Berman, the U.S. attorney, had tears in his eyes as he told us how sorry he was for all we had endured. William Sweeney, the head of the FBI's New York office, thanked us for our presence and both pleaded with us to help them in their ongoing investigations into Epstein's co-conspirators. Siggy, that's the name of what she calls her lawyer, and I would soon meet with them, as I know many survivor sisters did. They did, and they did it at a personal cost, and then they did it, and Trump quashed it because, as we know, his name was all over the files. Raskin bringing it back, saying there's a 1.5 billion suspicious transactions, 1,000 victims. There is evidence. Show us the evidence. So just the latest developments here with the Epstein files. My name is Dina Doll. This is the MeidasTouch Network. You're listening to the Mistrial Podcast. If you haven't subscribe to us wherever you listen to podcasts. Be sure to hit the free subscribe for MeidasTouch, trying to get you all the really, really important developments that are happening.
Love this video? Support independent media and unlock exclusive content, ad-free videos, and custom emojis by becoming a paid member of our YouTube channel today. You can also gift memberships to others. Let's keep growing together.